Welcome to another episode of the Holistic Sister Circle. Today we have Bobby with us, and I am so excited to officially announce that she is an author. She just launched her book 2 days ago, and we're just super excited for her. We're super thrilled. And Bobby, I want you to just share with us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why now for
Oh,
your book
why
release.
now? Good question.
Why now?
So I am a somatic therapist and business coach, and I have stopped working one-on-one with clients in therapy pretty much, but wanted to bring all of these lovely body-based tools that I've learned over the years into the workspace. One of the things that I saw as a therapist is that a lot of people come in with stress and burnout from work and how much they hate their jobs and how it's impacting their life outside of work and really wanting to be able to have tools for people in the workspace to use so that it doesn't have to be so yucky, right?
Mm, absolutely. And I'm grateful that we're talking about this because I mean there's so many people at this stage, whether you're working in office or you're working at home. Um, these are things that if we don't address them and we don't get to the root of them, they can cause more harm as we continue to live on our latter years. So could you just share with us what has been the biggest hurdle that you've seen in your industry, and with the clients that you've served with this topic? What has that looked like?
Mm. I think honestly, getting people to slow down enough to take care of themselves,
Mhm.
getting people to recognize that the things I do today actually matter for my not just my mental health, but my physical health, and that when you're living in stress and um, burnout really, it changes how our body is showing up internally and causes long-term problems for us. And so
Mm,
getting people to recognize there's really a mind-body connection, and that, what we eat matters, what we who we spend our time with matters, how we react to things or think about things matters. Um, and that for me, I think one of the biggest hurdles I see for people is their ability to have a belief that they can fix the problem, that they can respond differently and do something different.
mm. What are some things that you've tried that have helped to get these particular people to slow down? What has that looked like?
Mm, Practicing it with them. So practicing a mindfulness exercise with them, or when clients come into the room, getting them to stop and like actually look at the space they're in, and see if it's a safe enough space for them. Like we really want our brains to communicate, or we want our nervous system to communicate to our brain that this space is safe enough for me, and I can settle. I can do, the things that I need to do to be present in this actual moment.
Yeah, and I'm just super curious too. A lot of the times when someone starts a business or they write a book, a lot of it also has to do with maybe how they have were treated or what that looks like in their life. And
Mhm.
I just would love for you to share who was Bobby growing up? What did that
Oh,
look
growing
like?
up.
And yeah,
Um,
and what made
yeah.
you get into, really like, yeah, I want to know like how did we shape Bobby into who she is today to now come out with the shift?
Yeah, so I am the product of two teen parents, and life was pretty stressful. They're both blue collar workers for a long time. So, really seeing my parents work very hard in jobs where they had very little say so over how anything transpired. And hearing them complain about work or having to deal with some of the issues with work, those were things that definitely shaped me. And all of that pushed me in the direction of being a therapist. And and then having my own experiences as a clinician, owning my own practice. So being a business owner and having things, I talk about this in the book, having things that made for an incredibly hard year that were very heavy and hitting me like all at one time, and recognizing my own signs of burnout and stress, and that I wasn't doing the very thing that I was teaching clients to do. So I needed to slow down and do those things for myself, and then seeing the shift and how that moved me forward, and feeling like I'm in a much better and healed space from that, which is lovely.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I think it's so important that, people are able to see, okay, like just because this is currently happening to you, it doesn't necessarily need to define who you are.
Yeah.
And you can always change and have, as you share, the shift within whatever perspective that looks like. Now, for those who are listening who may have had, or maybe you're currently in this position right now where you're frustrated, your nervous system is out of whack, you are in that fight or flight mode or stage of always feeling like you have to perform because of work. Bobby, could you share with us what are just some industries that have really drawn to you, or that you've seen, collectively of, okay, this is an industry that I really want to take by storm and, share what my knowledge is with, these particular industries because you're noticing a maybe something bigger that impacts them in that way.
Say more what you mean by industries.
Yeah. So, for example, I know that my entire background has always been in sales and marketing.
Okay.
And when you talk a lot about just the shift and being able to slow down from a sales perspective, I mean, sometimes, you have quotas and deadlines that you need to hit by, before the month is over. And sometimes within that, you're a bit heightened because you know that, oh, I didn't hit my quota, or I'm so close, but, I'm not sure if this deal is going to make it, things of that nature. And you don't always take those moments to take the breath or to slow down. And I'm just curious if you have
Mhm.
just certain industries that you've worked with that you've noticed maybe don't take as much pride into the slow moments and they truly need like your book and what you're offering right now. Just I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah, I would
I
love to
gotcha.
know that.
Yeah. So at the beginning of my career, I worked on the Heart Center at Duke, and really got to feel myself for what it's like to work in that extremely fast-paced environment, and especially on the Heart Center. We weren't on the surgical side, so we were doing a lot of just like chest pain evaluation type thing. And so client or patients were moving in and out of there within 24 hours. So
Mhm.
it was a lot. And then, there was heavier stuff that would be more crisis involved. And it showed me really what the nurses, the doctors, the CNAs are going through. And then also in my work over the years, worked a lot with medical providers. So I
Mm.
would say definitely the medical industry for sure, the healthcare industry. You need the ability to have that adrenaline rush and to be able to respond quickly, but then you also need recovery time, and they don't take that recovery time. They have a high amount of burnout in their field because they're not taking that recovery time. And so that was a lot of what I worked on with clients. It's like, how can you get back to you when you're not in that space?
Right. So what are some of the things, tell us, like, how did you get them to a point where they were actually taking rest? Like
um, it's all rest is relative, I guess.
yeah, I
I mean,
mean, and
some of it,
yeah, and I mean, when I say rest too, I don't mean like, oh, I'm just gonna take a nap right now and go to
right?
sleep, but just taking those moments to breathe. I know yesterday, like my husband pulled me aside, he was like, let's just go do some yoga. I'm like, oh, yeah, we should do that. And normally that's what I normally do. But for the
Yeah.
last 3, 4 days, I have not been doing it. And for him to catch that and just say, let's go do that now. And I was like, ah, I needed that. Thank you. So I think also like having that accountability too. I'm curious because it's like if you don't have the accountability, but you know that you need to do it, 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to move forward. So
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think rest can also come in just micro moments and
Mhm.
things that you're doing to slow your system down or even to alter the thought process that's connected with something, right? Like, are you taking a minute before you've pulled into the parking garage, you're about to get out of your car to go to work? Can you take 3 minutes and practice some mindfulness?
Mm,
When you walk into the building, can you pay attention to what the environment is like? Just notice like who are you connected with at work? Who's your go-to person, that you can relate to, and that if they give you a smile in the hallway, like you're gonna feel like, okay, I'm good here. It's just micro moments really in the workspace. Now, outside of the workspace, it's going to be bigger things like doing yoga. Are you getting exercise in? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating well? Are you actually nourishing your body? Those kind of things are bigger outside of work. Do you have a good separation between work and home? Boundaries are key. Like I've noticed for me, like having notifications on my phone for email, I have like 4 different email accounts. I don't need to see all this.
yeah. One of the things that I was just thinking about too is if someone's in their car and they're driving to work, what were some of those mindful techniques that they could
Mhm.
potentially do? And those of you who are listening too, if you have maybe some moments that you're currently at work and you're feeling a bit sensitive to the topic or to the touch when it comes to just practicing mindfulness, like I would love to know that too for those who are listening. So yes, drop your comments or any feedback that you have or just share with us because I think it's also important that while we have Bobby here, we can learn from her and we can um, just take some of this knowledge with us. So yeah, Bobby, I will let you take it away. But what are some of those mindful techniques and what would that look like for someone who's just in their car getting
Yeah.
ready to head into work?
Yeah. I hate that I can't see the comments on this end, but I'm sure you'll share them with me. Um, I think one, paying attention, like, are you just checking in with your body? Like, how do I feel on the inside? Do I feel jittery? Do I have an anxious pit in my stomach? Am I Do I have a lot of road rage? Like, am I noticing how I'm showing up on my drive to work? And then can I do things like a mindfulness practice can be, you can do while you're driving, is just to start describing things that you're noticing. Like, what are 5 things that I see? What are 4 things that I can hear? What are things that I can smell, touch, taste? Those are all things that you can be mindful of. It could also be practicing gratitude in the car. And that could be gratitude of small things, like maybe you have a heated steering wheel and it's cold out, and you're just practicing gratitude for having that heated steering wheel. Or it could be, oh, I just had something and lost it. Um, oh, mindset. Like, what do you listen to on the way to work? Are you listening to music? What kind of music is it? Are you listening to news? And is that getting you activated? I mean, this is certainly um, there's a lot out there to activate people right now. And are you listening to a podcast? Like maybe they're listening to you. And does that feel good? Like, is it something that's going to get you into a mindset that feels good going into work?
Yeah, this is good. So someone just commented and saying that they use breath work. They like to take those moments of breath and stillness. Would love to know what your thoughts are about that, and is it something that you feel like, we should incorporate?
I think breath work is fantastic. I would also like some people be aware that it can also be really activating for some people. So breath work works fantastic for a certain group of people, and then for other people it might feel kind of scary. Like for me, I hate breath work, but which is probably why I don't talk about it a lot.
That's this is good though, because I didn't even know that that it would
Yeah,
do
like
that for some
it can
people.
feel it's really dysregulating for me. Like, and then I'm like, am I doing it wrong? Like it but for some people it's fantastic. And there's so many different ways to do breath work. You can take an inhale, you can do what's called box breathing, where you take an inhale for 4 seconds and then you hold it for 4 seconds and exhale for 4 seconds and hold that for 4 seconds, and then you just keep repeating that. And that is fantastic for just slowing your system down,
Mm,
and getting it more into just a regulated pattern. Like I want you to think about your system as like it just ebbs and flows, kind of like a seesaw or a wave. It's just it's coming and going.
mm. Are there any particular types of mindful practices that you talk about in your book? Somebody actually just asked that question.
I don't know that we get into any specific other than like what are 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear. I don't I don't think I put any other mindfulness practices in there, but I do have a micro mindfulness course that I offer. So if anybody's interested in that, they can certainly reach out. So I do have my moments of micro mindfulness that we offer. There's so many ways to practice mindfulness, which I love. Um, there's all the way to, imagining your thoughts as placing them on leaves and watching them drift down the river, to walking mindfulness. There's so many different ways to do it. And really the art of it is just you're trying to train your brain to focus on what you want it to focus on rather than just being all over the place.
Yeah. For someone, and this is more for my question, but for someone who's literally like on the verge of quitting their job, like they just literally
Hmm.
can't take it anymore, what would you say to someone in that
That's a great
position?
question. One of the things that I'd want you to consider is what's pushing you in that direction. Like, does your job not feel like it's in line with your values? Does it feel like you're not able to hold your boundaries in the workspace? Um, and how is it showing up for you, as far as your health goes? Or, is it impacting your sleep? Are you not able to um, get up and go to work without drinking like 5 cups of coffee? Like, how's it showing up for you? And then, what would feel more in line?
Mm, yeah. And if anybody wanted to just go a little bit further within this journey, potentially working with you, what would that process look like?
Oh, great question. Yeah, so I do offer coaching. So they could reach out, and I'd be more than happy to provide coaching where we can look at these things individually for them. Or, I mean, they can absolutely read the book. There are great tools in there for them to use. And then, like I said, I do offer additional courses. So, like micro mindfulness, and then also Say It Like You Mean It, which is a great course for exploring what your boundaries are and how to hold your boundaries.
This is good.
Yeah.
What the boundaries are and how to hold your boundaries. I love that. I love it. I love it. Well, Bobby, this has been amazing. We do have about 5 minutes left with Bobby. So if anyone has any other questions, please feel free to ask them now. While we're doing that and getting our questions in, I do want to talk about the book a little bit more for those who just joined us. Um, so again, we have the shift. Shift happens. Reclaim your energy and focus without quitting your job. So,
Mhm.
Bobby, one more time, can you just share with us again who you are, what you do, and tell us a little bit more about your book? This is just for last minute audience for those who just joined us.
Yeah, so I'm Bobby Newell. I'm a somatic therapist and business coach, and I work with people on managing burnout, and teaching them tools so they can learn to love their job again, or at least get through the day without wanting to quit their job. Shift Happens is basically a guide for teaching you that you have a body. We're not just neck up, but we have like an entire body, and how that's showing up for you when you're burnout, or not showing up for you, and issues that burnout causes with our health. And then there's great tools in there to use of how to regulate, how to stay calm, how to learn to let some things go, and really evaluating what's important to you, and how to move through the day without cussing everybody out and storming out of the building.
Because that does happen.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And then last thing before we just turn it over to let you go, I don't see any other questions coming in. Can you tell us just some success stories that you've had leveraging the shift happening? You know, I know obviously it's a book now, but I know
Yeah.
it's been time and time again. We work with several clients, and how has that looked like for them, and what has their outcome been?
Yeah. Which actually is another way that people can work with me. I also offer intensives. So I'm happy, like, if anybody wants to come to North Carolina to provide an intensive for them. Yeah, I had a client one time who had an accident, which caused some head trauma a couple years before, and their anxiety, I don't know if you know, concussions can increase anxiety. Their anxiety had ramped up over the course of 2 years, and they were at the point where they were ready to quit their job. They just could not take another moment, and every day was so hard for them. And they weren't able to get up in the morning and go to work. They were just really struggling. And we did a lot of intensive work together, and worked through that traumatic event, and learned some mindfulness, some tools to regulate, some tools to ground, so that they were able to go back to the work. And now they've been there several years. They've reached out to me and let me know that things are still going great. So, this is the kind of thing that it didn't seem work related, but this event was impacting their work. And so then it turned into being work related. So we were able to move them through that.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing. And again, if anyone wants to connect with Bobby further, Bobby, tell us what that process looks like.
Yeah, so you can find me on my website, Mindful Collaboration, NC as in North Carolina.com. And we are on Instagram as mindful_collaboration. And you can find the book on Amazon. It's Shift Happens by Bobby Newell. And I am currently working on some add-ons to that. There's also a nice companion in the book that you get access to through a QR code when you buy the book. So that'll give you some additional skills.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I'll also link the book at the bottom of the description notes for those who are tuning in as well. And Bobby, thanks so much again, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye,
Awesome. Thanks,
everybody.
Vera.